JAG University, episode 2. Before we get to the pop quiz, I'm excited about this topic, Kevin. This is everyone's favorite insurance policy. You want to guess what it is?
Personal auto.
You're welcome. I know. Don't get too excited about this. I want you to kind of keep it cool. You're very stoic. Besides the insurance and everybody, I think personal auto insurance, because it's required by law, it's one of those ones that people probably dislike even more, right? The process is sticky, but you need it. Now, I want to talk about auto insurance specifically because there's one thing that really bothers me the most is when I hear somebody throw out, "Hey, I have the lease limits." Okay, and it's nothing bad about the intention is they feel like they're insured correctly or sufficiently enough, right? Hey, anybody selling you a car doesn't care about what insurance you have. They always push the lease limits. Here in Miami, I think most people lease cars. It's South Florida, the bougie, right? I think majority of people probably afford a car that they shouldn't afford.
Get that Mercedes.
Get that. They probably go a little bit higher.
The Audi.
This isn't the Dave Ramsey model down here in Florida or South Florida. Pay it off in 5 years and then save. Here it's what can I afford, right? Lease. Not to go on a tangent, but what drives me crazy that specifically is when you talk to most people, they have this kind of false sense of comfort, right? Like, hey, I have lease limits. Now, most people don't understand what that means. Now, most personal auto insurance policies, I would say 95, probably even higher percentile, they're on split limits, right? So I'm gonna kind of go down to what are lease limits, right? They're broken out into 3 different limits. It's 100, 300, 50. Now, this is exactly what you need to lease a car and leave the lot, right? So this is where the salesperson says, hey, call your agent, or if you don't know one, call Geico as fast as possible and get your lease limits going. So what does this mean, right? Lost a 0 there. The first number is 100. So this is medical payments in case you're at fault in an accident that will max pay per person. I can't even spell. There you go. Per person. So this means $100,000 of coverage in case you're liable in an accident. Now, remember, you're buying insurance in case you're liable, right? In case I'm at fault. In a perfect world, or you're at fault, excuse me. In a perfect world, everybody has insurance and the world will be a better place. The truth is, not everybody's insured adequately enough. So this 100 kind of seems like it's nice, right? If I'm at fault, I pay $100K, God forbid, to protect the max one person. This second number, big number, looks even bigger, gives it even a little more peace of mind, is $300,000 per accident, right? For medical bills. Per accident. So $300K, bigger, but in case you're at fault, there might be 2, 3, 4 people, God forbid, multiple vehicles. This is the maximum the insurance company is going to pay. Now, this might seem, depending on your risk tolerance, right, like good numbers. But this third number is the one that drives me crazy, right? The 50K, which stands for PD. This is considered property damage. This is bad. This is not enough. This drives me crazy. I mean, think about it. If you're at fault and hit somebody, go back to the Mercedes. What's average Mercedes cost down here? $75,000, $80,000. You're, again, at fault, slip, could be a rainy day, you made a mistake, you text and drive, you hit somebody, hopefully you're safe. But you hit another car and it's a total loss, $50,000 is the max they're going to pay. That's not going to get it done. God forbid you hit 2 cars. What if you hit a light pole? I mean, we see in the news now, Johnny was talking about it earlier. What if you just lost control, ran into a house or a commercial building? That could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, this number right here, I told everybody, if you have lease limits, and anybody we talk to, we say, this looks great. Obviously, everyone's in this save insurance money or save money mode. This needs to be bumped up to 100K minimum. The difference every 6 months is probably $28, $30 on average. That's a couple less trips to Starbucks that can give you more coverage to what I think is what most people are underinsured.
Yeah.
Did I convince you to buy a little more coverage? I think that's the point. Again, from a BI perspective, it's hard to say what's enough, right? But literally, property damage is the one thing you can control.
Yeah, and okay, so people want to save money on car insurance, right? And we mentioned in the beginning, I'm not the hugest fan of personal auto just because it's just not fun. It's not. I'm not even my own personal auto agent. I just called Geico.
What? I need to be your agent then. I'll take that responsibility.
Okay.
I'll be a hypocrite if I don't try to sell you.
You could be my car insurance agent.
Okay.
But really, what I did is I have an older car. It's paid off. I'm not that worried about what happens if it gets damaged in a crash. I'll just get a new car. So what I did to save money was I allocated the comp and collision premium to the liability side.
Right.
Because that's what matters. You don't know
Sure.
what's going to happen. One, nobody down here has insurance. And I use the word nobody just because so many people don't. You might as well consider it nobody.
Or not enough.
Or not enough. Everyone here has these lower limits. And then people have nice cars here. So you get in an accident, you damage a couple cars, a couple people get hurt. Not even to mention the fact that Miami, Florida in general, is very litigious. A lot of personal injury attorneys, a lot of car accidents have a lawsuit that follows, and they're going to go after your policy. So, what really worries me more so than having my car damaged in a crash or stolen is getting sued.
And getting sued too, as far as, so the BI is your bodily injury limits, right?
Yeah.
Bodily injury itself. I mean, that's a little more subjective, right? So you see, if something were to happen, either attorneys, medical bills, like those things do have some leeway. A lot of times they'll go after policy limits. But for property damage, a car costs what a car costs, right? It's believe it or not, there's less leeway there on what it is to repair or replace that Mercedes that on Kelly Blue Book says it's $78,000. You got 50, you're going to pay $28,000 out of pocket.
Yeah, you're on the hook.
I mean, it's allocating. It's true. I mean, that's one of those things where lease limits is not enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to add to that third line, the property damage limit, bump it up. It's literally less, go to Starbucks less once a week, cut it out, and you'll be adequately insured. That's a tough word to say.
And this is, a good segue back to episode 1. If you haven't watched episode 1, when we talk about having conversations with the right people about insurance, is you talk about this, hey, do I want to spend $20 more a year just to get rid of the possibility that I slip into the wrong car and I'm on the hook for 30 grand? Most people would say yes. But the thing is whoever's selling the car, driving that deal, they're not going to bring that up at all. They're not going to educate you on the possibilities.
Because the truth is, if someone's actively shopping their auto insurance, do you have the confidence to upsell them, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can't save you money. It's $80 more every 6 months. But they called you to save money. How do you kind of spin it, provide value, and say this is where you have to invest in?
Yeah. And scenarios are a great way to do that, just because it's so common down here. You just look around. Look at all the billboards on the street with personal injury attorneys. Look at all the cars you're seeing around you. Man, if I get into a car crash, something's going to happen if I'm at fault here. So what I like to tell people is just to understand, okay, how much are you spending on insurance right now? Let's say you're spending $600 every 6 months. It's pretty low, but we'll just use that here. Here, that's
someone in Missouri just heard you now and fell off their chair.
Yeah.
But that's literally.
We're gonna get 20 phone calls off that number alone right here. But let's say you're paying.
Someone's calling right now.
Yeah, you're already paying $600. If you just pay $620, $630, you have this giant exposure, totally closed out.
Bigger cushion, more peace of mind.
You're already spending a lot of money. Why not make sure that you're actually getting complete value for it?
Right.
You're already all the way up here.
Right.
Just get a little bit more and sleep a little bit better at night. And when you're driving down the road, you're not going to have that in the back of your head. Well, the problem is most people don't have it in the back of their head because they don't even know it exists.
Correct.
But
now that we know, I mean, our job is to kind of obviously just educate, give them the option. It's always about empowering the consumer and advising them of what we feel they should do.
What I tell people too is that sometimes if we're like, oh, we're really stuck on a budgetary constraint, I'll just be, hey, raise the property damage limit. Maybe just raise your comp and collision deductible a little bit to offset it. Probably be right around the same.
Right.
Maybe even end up saving a little bit.
Because at least, for as far as your comp and collision, right? That's the coverage for your vehicle.
Yeah.
Usually the average deductible is about either $500.
Or $1,000,
I mean, going up to $1,000 seems like a big jump, but at least you know what your maximum loss is, right?
Yeah.
Like, the worst case scenario, someone steals your car or your car gets hit. That's the max you come out of pocket.
Another $500.
That's it.
And then you get rid of the scenario where you damage a car that's worth a bunch of money and you're out $30,000.
30 minimum. Hey, some of these cars down here, you never know. They're getting more and more. Cars are getting way more expensive.
Yeah, they're expensive, and there's nice cars everywhere, especially in South Florida. You drive down the street, I see Ferraris every day. It's basically, I live in Brickell, so coming out of Brickell, you have very congested roads. It's always raining and flooding, and you have a bunch of sweet cars all around you, and it's like,
those guys better not have lease limits. If you have a Ferrari and have lease limits, it's a problem. Like, I'm learning jiu-jitsu. I might have to put you in a submission and tell you how to do that.
Yeah.
Right? What's the guillotine?
Say bind it.
Yeah, bind it. I am on a mission. If you have an exotic car and have lease limits, we might have a problem with me. Literally. So JAG, episode 2, kind of recap. Lease limits doesn't necessarily mean you're adequately insured. I'm fine with that. Don't take advice from people trying to sell you a car or your agent. When you shop, pay attention to the fine print. Property damage, you can spend a little bit more money and bump that up double and give yourself more peace of mind. So lease limits, don't use that word. Get a little bit more lease limits, you have ultimate peace of mind.
Absolutely.
Nice.